Hey everybody, happy Friday. This is Gaye Ann Bruno. Thank you for tuning in to Between the Sheets. Well, I don't know what the heck that was, but it's Between These Sheets on United Broadcasting Network here in our lovely home in Burbank. We are on, actually not this month, but starting next month, we are on our regularly scheduled first and third Friday of every month. Thank you for tuning in last week. To see Joanna Cassidy. She had a great time, and she actually left and said, I really want to be part of this show more often. So I'm like, absolutely, call me when you can. But thank you for all your comments and all your views. Muchly appreciated. You can follow me on QTE Brett on Instagram. And please remember, you call in 323-394-2349. Tony will put the banner up there with the number, but please, we have a very interesting, inspirational guest today. I've known her, God, it's almost 20 years. Yeah, when I quantify it, I've known her for 20 years. So
it's a long time.
I was like, we were all babies. But nonetheless, I'm honored that she's coming on. I'm very excited that she's going to share her new book with us and her life story. But without further ado, I'll announce her after I announce the girls. So on Zoom, we have Cheryl Murphy joining us.
God, it's been a long time, everybody.
Hi, Cheryl.
Guys.
Hi. We have Margie or Marguerite Duran. She's also calling in. She's used to be a recurring regular, and then she moved state. But we all have a tie into our guest, so she asked to join, and absolutely.
Wow.
We have Tony Sweet. Running the boards, owner of UBN. We have Ronnie Loaiza.
Good evening, everybody. God, it's so good to see everybody.
And we have Cara Noble.
Hello.
And let's see. With Patty. Her name's Patty Tierney. I won't even tell you what her maiden name is. I can't even pronounce it. But she's better off she went with Tierney.
Exactly.
And she's married to a lovely, lovely man, John, and they've been married for a very long time and are
15 years.
And are very much the idyllic picture of what a healthy, happy marriage is. So
Sickening.
Sickening. It truly is sickening.
God, he's such a darling.
But very quick. Like Margie, Cara, and Patty. As I've told you in many times, there's a goddess group or goddess camp, and it's an empowerment of women with group. And I'm not going to go into any details, but that's how I met these three lovely ladies who have entered my life and are my goddess sisters.
And changed our lives in
and
so many ways.
Exactly. So, for, like I said, I've known Patty pretty much 20 years. And, at these camps, it's a lot of awareness and self-discovery and, peeling the onion and aha moments and, coming new. I was at the newbie at the time, and Patty would share bits and pieces of her life story, and it was always really so inspiring. And I'm going to let her talk about it. But, she's been in the works with writing this book probably a while now.
Oh, yeah.
And it's, so it is available right now on Amazon. And it is other places, but, we do want to sort of generate sales.
I know they need the money, Amazon. They're really struggling right now.
No. It has not to do that. It has to do with placement in the book for,
right.
the first whatever. So
yes.
If you are planning to purchase this book during the show or after the show, make Amazon your first stop to purchase it, because those numbers in the publishing world, especially the internet publishing world, matter. So go there.
Thank you, Gaye Ann.
You're welcome. The book is called For a Good Time. And without further ado, well, there's more, but she'll go into it. Let's introduce and welcome to our show, Between the Sheets, Patty Tierney.
Yay.
Thank you, Gaye Ann. Thank
welcome.
you for having me.
You're welcome. It's, this story, like I said, I've heard bits and pieces of it, because, obviously, in a goddess camp, you're not going to just read every page in the book.
No.
So it is very inspiring. So for people that don't know what's in the book, they haven't read it, why don't you do a small synopsis of your life?
Yeah, so it came to me through meditations. I was doing transcendental meditation, and every time I would do my meditation for about 6 months, I was telling my story, and I was looking around and a group of people, and I was a prostitute. And I was telling that whole story of my journey. And so I thought, God, this is strange. So I asked the universe, I said, why am I telling my story all the time? And in floated the answer, you're going to write a book about your life. And so that very day, I don't take too long, I don't sit on things. That very day I went and bought a journal and started handwriting. What I did every day, I didn't know how to write. I didn't know a thing about it, but I knew that I would be guided. And I knew that it was my divine purpose somehow, and that it would help people from whatever I've gone through. So that was my carrot. That was the driving force that had me show up to whatever it took to get the money to make this happen and go to Goddess Camp. I was so blessed on my journey. I've been so blessed by people that I've met along my path. And one of those people was Joy.
Yeah.
Joy Mitchell changed my life. So being attracted to her and her attracted to me, and we met, was, when I look back on it, was like, of course, she's my soul sister. You know, we just are. We have the same ideas of how we want to live our lives and what's important to us. So to start with, just tell you some of my backstory. I was raised by a mom who was unavailable, drunk, and had a boyfriend that they would always fight, and there was a lot of violence in our home, and she was gone a lot. She was gone so much that she left us for an entire weekend, and the neighbors called the police, and they took us to juvenile hall when I was 5. And so my thoughts as a 5-year-old was, oh my gosh, if my mother would leave me, I must not be worth anything. And so there begins this whole life of not good enough, not worthy of your own mother to care. So it was hard. It was really hard to be there. It was a scary situation, being put in a little cell kind of a room by myself.
Wow.
When I was at night, and this warden type lady would say, go in there and get to sleep, don't wake up the other girls, and I cried myself to sleep. And I just wanted my mommy. And I thought, why? What did I do? That's the first thing. What did I do? What did I do that was so wrong?
Well, aren't you feeling also, I must have done something bad?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it looks
I
like
must have done
punishment.
something.
But it's interesting that in your mind, seeing the dichotomy of, sort of being a latchkey kid, pretty much taking care of yourself at home, and yet putting into a space that really was protecting you. As a child, you didn't see that. All you cared, no matter how your mom was or what was happening at home, you just wanted to be with mom.
Yeah.
How long were you there before?
We weren't there long. We were only there for a couple of weeks, 2-3 weeks.
That's a long time for a
But
little
when
kid.
you're little,
It
yeah,
is.
thank you. Yeah, when you're little, it's like forever. I mean, I had a new world there. I had a best friend already.
Absolutely.
And leaving was difficult to leave because this was my world now.
I'm going to interrupt you because we have a caller apparently. So let's see. I mean, we didn't even get to the crux to the show. Hello. I'm so excited. Hello, caller. Welcome to Between the Sheets. Please state your name and what your question is.
Hi, my name is Russ. I've got a couple of questions for Patty. Patty, I'm about halfway through your book, and I love it, as I've told you before.
Wonderful.
I think you've done a wonderful job.
Thanks for calling in,
my
Russ.
first question is this. Hi, Patty. How are you?
Hi, good.
Good. Hey, let me ask you a quick question here regarding this. May be totally inappropriate, and your host can tell me to not to continue. I am not able to get the video. I'm looking at what I'm looking at on the website is a Joanna Cassidy show, and I don't know how to get to the live broadcast of you.
Okay, I will tell you.
Is there something
yes,
I should?
you need to go go on Facebook. Go to the United
I'm on
Okay. United
I
Broadcasting.
clicked.
Okay, I'm trying to
I
tell you
clicked
how.
on the link that I
Hold
was
on,
given to
hold on.
reach the show.
I'm trying to tell
Okay.
you how to do it. So just calm down.
Okay.
So then, on the page, if you go to the top on videos, it's past shows. So you need to scroll down into the feed, go back to the front page of United Broadcasting, and you will see the banner that says Between the Sheets Live.
I see. Okay. I will do that once I finish here. I don't want to take up your time. Thank you so much.
You're
I will
welcome.
do that.
You're welcome.
Okay, so let me just ask. I've got two questions here for Patty. Patty, of course, in this kind of a book, you reveal all kinds of intimate details in your life. Did you ever have any hesitation about doing that?
No. I think that's who I am. I'm very bold, and I like to live on the edge. It's just, again, it's just really who I am. I rather live that way.
Sure.
But it's who you are now.
It's who I was when I started writing the book.
Right,
So he
yeah,
asked me.
exactly.
How
you
long
know,
ago was
Exactly.
that? How long ago was that, Patty?
20 years.
Hold on. Continue, Russ. I want to hear the
Yeah, I
second
want to hear
question.
the question.
Okay. Second question, and that is that the overriding theme in the book is of your desire to be a good mother, and it's particularly delineated in your subtitle, which says "Surviving Sex Work and Addiction to Become the Mother I Was Meant to Be." So it seems to me that the whole purpose of this thing was your wonderful overriding desire to become a good mother. And in spite of everything you went through, you never lost that desire, which to me, based on some of the many things that I have read in the book, it's amazing that you did not at some point maybe lose the desire to become a good mother, but you never did. That's still the thing for the book. I think it's wonderful.
Thank you, Russ. You know, it's still the number one thing for me. I still don't relax. I don't rest on my laurels or whatever. I'm still trying to become the best mother I can be at the age I am and with my adult children. So I wanted to answer your question. My mother was so unavailable, and there was so much violence. I just said, I'm just not gonna. I'm gonna be a great mother. I wanted to just be the best. Actually, I wanted to be a perfect mother. And as we know now, perfectionism, perfect doesn't exist, right? But I tried,
Sure.
and I wore myself out trying to be perfect. And I would just do backflips for someone's attention, and to try to make everything just right at the expense of myself. And so it was going through that until little by little I would let go of needing to be so uncomfortable. And it's a process. It doesn't happen overnight. It took me a lifetime. And so
And it doesn't stop after the book. Because you've sort of, as we talk about, you've peeled that onion, you've cracked over the egg to sort of really look into yourself.
Exactly.
And learn to love yourself.
Exactly.
And sort of come to terms that perfection is BS. So you be the best that you can be, and it's always evolving. So from, we as people, to grow, we always evolve.
Right. Thank God, because there's nothing like a growth. I mean, so as I got to these I drank a lot, Russ. I drank a lot to numb.
Yes,
my
I
pain.
noticed that in the book. Sure.
Yeah. That's right.
Some good descriptions of the drinking.
Yeah. I was afraid to not drink because I didn't know if I could handle life without drinking. It was
And it's
modeled
what your
for
mother
me.
did.
My mother did that from morning to night, every single
Self-medicating.
day. Yeah. And
What
so
happened with your mother?
my mother lost a child when her daughter was 11 years old. She was hit by a car. And my mother, on this particular day, let her go with her friends to a movie. And my mom's intuition said, don't let her go. Don't do it. But they begged, please let her go to the movies with us.
So trying to be the perfect
She
mom.
was trying to be the perfect mom. There you go. Thank you, Gaye Ann. That's it. So, yeah, I get my mom. And so she carried that throughout her life. She was in unbearable pain. And so she started to drink. And she was never able to quit, ever.
Russ,
killed her.
thank you so much for calling.
Nice questions,
Thank you,
Russ.
Russ.
Great questions.
Yeah.
Thank you. And Patty, good luck with the book. I hope it does really, really, really good.
Oh, thank you for your support, sweetheart. Thank you.
Thanks, Russ. I want to just say
You're
Sheena
welcome.
Metal.
Okay.
I just want to say Sheena Metal just popped in. I know she said she's going
Yay!
to sneak in, but there's no way Sheena can sneak anywhere. You know, it's like it's either it's a thunder and a roar. You know.
Yes.
But so Patty, so you were talking about the your connection and your encounter with Joy.
Yeah.
But let's go before Joy, because I guess meeting Joy was sort of the first step that set you on your journey to the light.
Meeting Joy, and yes, it was. She brought me into this community, this beautiful community of goddesses, and I didn't have girlfriends. I was always the guys. I wanted the guys' attention, maybe for lots of reasons. I attached love to everything because I was craving love. So my takeaway from Goddess Camp was that we are all the same.
Mm-hmm.
We really are. Nobody's better or worse than anybody else. And I always believed that I was not worth it, or I wasn't good enough, that everyone knew more than me. I finally got it. And it was at one of the Goddess Camps when someone said to me, Patty, we don't hear too much out of you.
I was there.
Oh, you remember?
Yes, I was. Patty at Goddess Camp would always sit very quietly.
Yeah, at the beginning.
At the beginning, very quietly and very attentive. Very attentive and but never. And I can't even
Very
remember
perfectly.
And I can't even. And there's a few of us that were pretty loud mouths. I of course am one of them. And I can't even remember who called you out. I really can't call you out on the carpet and. For the first time, you actually spoke.
Yeah.
And then once you spoke, there was no stopping you.
So
Which
true.
was a good thing.
So true.
It's like you just needed that little push. And I think,
Yeah.
you needed to find a safe space.
Yes.
Where you belonged. And,
Yeah.
everyone around that circle, because we used to sit in a circle
Yeah.
thing. I mean, it was truly ceremonial. I mean, it wasn't like just, hey, let's get together and
Wonderful.
party, okay?
Yeah.
In that circle, we all on the surface looked perfect.
Yeah.
We were perfect jobs, perfect this, perfect hair,
Perfectly
perfect houses,
spiritual.
perfectly spiritual,
Yeah.
and yet we were all to some degrees of broken. And coming into this tribe, it's like, yeah, we can put down that mask and be who we are and not be judged.
Yeah.
Although there were moments where we were judged. Don't get me wrong, it wasn't easy. But
Yeah.
truly, I mean, the whole archetype was for transformation and growth.
And Gaye Ann, I was so happy that she called me out. I wanted to be called out because I didn't know how to get there.
Mhm.
All my voice would say is, well, if you say what you're thinking, everybody else already knows this. It's stuff that they already know, so why would I speak up? So when she did that, it gave me permission to say it anyway, just to step up.
Just to give it a go.
Give it
Yep.
a go.
And suddenly
Was it
you
Joy that
found-
called you out?
No, I
no,
think
no,
it
no.
was Lorraine. I'm not sure.
It was
I-
someone who was, it could have been, see, I don't remember.
Yeah,
I'm going to say
not sure.
it could be Lorraine, but maybe not. But
I
then we
don't
could go
know for
down the
sure.
whole list.
Right,
There's too
right.
many.
It was
Terry.
No,
No,
it wasn't Terry
wasn't
for
Terry.
sure. But anyway, it was someone, bless her heart, whoever it was.
Yes.
Yes.
Because that was
And feel free to call in, 323-524-2599.
yeah. And thank you to you goddesses for being so wonderful and supportive and interested in what I had to say. That's the safe place.
Well, who doesn't want to talk about drinking and sex? I mean, we're goddesses, but we're not dead.
Not dead yet. no.
Not dead yet. So, let's see. So, you told us a little about your childhood, how that started forming. So, how were your teen years? I mean, you have 2 children, right? No, one.
3.
3. Jesus, 3. I mean, like, I'm going to ask this because it's so surprising. I mean, you were broken. I would like you to just briefly tell how you got into sex working. You know, were you married to any of these? Did you like have a marriage? Did these kids from different Johns? I mean, I think I'd like to hear sort of that.
Yeah. So the first question.
I've already forgotten it.
You asked so many just now. My teens, you asked about. Okay, I ran wild as a teen. I never had discipline. I could come and go as I pleased, and I didn't like it. I, of course, wanted to be grounded like my friends. They had parents that would punish them if they did something. I said to my mom one time, "How come you never ground me? How come all my girlfriends are getting grounded, not me?" And she said, "Well, you don't have to be like everybody else." And so that message came from my mother, who I learned years later that that's why I can be who I am now. I don't have to be like everybody else. So that stuck with me, even though I didn't know it at the time. It's kind of amazing how that works. Drank a lot, even through high school, junior high school, and got married. Had 3 children by the same husband. We had a very nice life.
So it was a healthy marriage.
It was a healthy marriage, as healthy as it could be when you're low self-esteem and you're trying to be a perfectionist and going through phobias.
But I'm saying he wasn't like verbally abusive
No,
or battered you or anything like that.
No, nothing like that.
Not till later.
So what happened? No, actually, that didn't happen. He was working for an attorney who started selling cocaine. And so he said to me, you know, I think I'm going to sell cocaine and make some extra money. And I was used to that because we were already growing marijuana in our backyard at this time, and he was selling that. So it was like, okay. I wanted the extra things the money could buy too, and we wound up with kids in private school, stuff like that. So the first night that we went to this party over at his house, I tried the coke. I wasn't going to try it because I didn't do that kind of drug. I thought that was like big stuff, you know. So I couldn't sleep. And my little children had to get up for school at 7, and I was just getting home at 4. And it was awful. And that started this horrible, horrible life of me being a horrible mother, basically. And trying to manage getting the kids up, driving them to school and coming home and drinking so I could pass out on the couch. It was very ugly years. I wanted a divorce because he got so paranoid from having so much coke that he would go around the house with a gun and point it out the window, the bushes, and say, "There's 12 cops in those bushes. Do you see them, Pat?" And if I didn't say I saw them, he would be like, "I'd hear it for 2 hours. Why couldn't I see those cops? Of course they're there." So it was crazy, and he would go into the backyard and dance Michael Jackson's moonwalk dance and practice that until 4 a.m, and then come in and want sex.
Oh.
And so I just pretended like I was asleep most of the time. That got me to where I wanted a divorce. It wasn't stopping. I said, "Come on, let's stop this selling these drugs. Let's have a normal life.
Change the song. I'm tired of Michael Jackson."
Yeah. So I wanted a normal life. I wanted to just go to dinner and movies with the kids. That didn't happen. So I said I want a divorce. He said, no, forever and ever. And then finally one day he said, "Okay, I'm gone."
And how old were the kids at the time?
4. It was on my daughter's 8th birthday, 8 and 9.
Oh, very young.
So, yeah, very young. So he said, "Okay, so I'm going to leave." So he got in his car and he drove away, and I said, "Oh my God, he's really leaving? Oh, good. We can have a happy life now. There'll be no drugs. I'll stop drinking completely." 2 minutes later, he drove back in. He said, "I changed my mind, bitch. If anybody's if anybody's leaving, it's going to be you and the kids, and you've got 3 minutes to leave, or I'll blow you all away."
Oh, Jesus.
So I just gathered the kids, got in my car, and drove off, and I knew that I was never coming back, no matter what. Nothing could have been worse. So that led me to homeless for a while, and that was okay because nothing, like I said, nothing could have been worse than living that craziness.
But while you were homeless, I mean, did you keep the kids' routine of going to the same school and try and keep their life normal?
We went to stay at his sister's house for a few nights, and then we'd go to the brother's house for a few nights, and then to her sister's house for a few weeks. It was.
And you didn't have any family.
No, I
Okay.
don't have any family.
Okay.
Let me get a sip here. Excuse me.
Did your kids ever know their grandmother, your mom?
No, that's. I really wish they could have. I brought them around to meet her when they were just babies, but my mom was too far gone. Anyway,
Yeah.
they were. I used to go over there at 7 a.m. to catch them before they were drunk because they'd get up and start drinking first thing in the morning.
Cool, yeah.
Oh my
You know.
good God.
So, so
Oh my
yeah,
God.
so there was so much drinking. Where was I?
Oh, you were at the point where you were going from like relative to relative
Right,
to relative.
Right. So I asked
were
my brother.
pre-prostitute.
I asked me. Yeah.
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 Right.
Pre-
So
pre-
I borrowed some money from my brother-in-law to rent a place and at least have a place. We didn't have furniture or lights or gas. We had a place. And then I was housekeeping. I did some housekeeping, and when I was driving to work, my car broke down, and my car was a big Cadillac, very expensive. It was like $300 to just fix something that wasn't a big deal, I thought. So I said to the gas station man, "Can I leave my car here, please? Can I leave it here, and I'll figure out how to get the money, and I'll come back." Pulled in a card out of his pocket, and he pressed it into my hand, and he said, "It's okay, honey. We can take it out in trade."
Oh,
Oh,
jeez.
shit.
And I said, I didn't know what I really honestly wanted to hear it again because I thought I heard it wrong.
What does that mean?
What did you say? Yeah. Did you just say what I thought you said? I'm not that kind of a girl. I was saying stuff like that. And he says, "Well, if you change your mind, give me a call and make me happy for an hour," was his word. Were his
Wow.
words.
What a pig.
Yeah. So
And
I
the station is where? So we don't.
Yeah.
So we do not.
Yeah, so I took his card because I had it with me, and there was about 3 or 4 nights in a row I was just with nothing. I got some beds from the Salvation Army, but finally I called that number and I said, "Okay, just this once. I need my car fixed so I can get a job, so I can make money to support my family." And thank God it was over in 10 minutes. I mean, he put the condom on and it was over. And I remember leaving and smiling and saying, "Oh my gosh, this wasn't so bad after all." Just the thought of it was terrorizing.
You still got his number? Because that sounds like a good deal to me.
Yeah. So I think if it wasn't for that initial easy first time, I wouldn't have. I don't know. Who knows? We
It wasn't
we
violent.
Can't say.
It was
No, it was
fast.
just fast,
Yeah.
and I was very happy to have some money or have my car fixed
Yeah.
so I could get money. And turns out that he started spreading the word on me, calling his cousins and saying,
God.
"Here's Patty's number." And they'd call me back a few days later and say, "Do you want to see my cousin?" And I wasn't going to. And then
Okay, I'm going to ask you,
same
because how
thing.
much were you charging?
Well, I didn't charge. I mean, wait a minute.
Wait a minute.
No,
I mean, what are you
didn't-
trading with the other people?
Well, the first thing was the car that
Right.
was $300.
Right.
And then we met at the motel, and so the motel was $40 for the hour for the room, I
Okay.
found out later. So they would give me $60. And at that time, to me, that I was good because I was making $7 an hour cleaning house. And so that was like good. So I didn't ever say how much I charged. That's what he gave me. So I figured that's the going rate. I didn't really know. So that's kind of how it turned out. And I think the cousins would tell the other cousin, "This is how much it costs."
And that's
so
how it worked.
That's how
This
it
was
worked.
like around the year 2000 or before then.
No, soon
No, before.
It was in 1984.
It has to be the
Okay.
80s,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
then
moonwalk time.
Yeah, that's
yeah,
right.
yeah. So one thing just kept going. It went for 17 years.
And
from
you
that
were
one
able, and
day.
you were able. So I mean, obviously, you got paid more than $60 as you.
No, no.
For 17 years, you got paid $60 only,
Yeah.
and you
Oh, I
just
did
service this
see-
like family, or did they? Did we? I mean, is this like Mayflower Madam?
Yeah,
time,
friends and
you know?
family rate.
Yeah, boy.
I mean, did you
if I
branch
had
out
only
the
known.
business? I'm not being facetious, but
No.
there are. I mean, look, we had the Mayflower Madam, we had Heidi Fleiss. I mean, they turned it into a money-making
Yeah,
business.
I do know about that. I was just to go fast forward on this and to answer that question. No, I never changed I didn't have a voice then. I was just so broken.
Yeah.
What did
And,
your
I-
kids think you were doing?
Well, that's the that's the fun part. I decided that I had to make up a real good story of where I was going because they always wanted to come with me. Mommy, can we come with you? And I took them to the grocery store. I took them everywhere I went. So I decided that, okay, what can I do? What can I say I'm doing that doesn't take long? Anyway, I came up with a real estate hostess. I even made up the name. I could go show houses for people that sell houses that don't have the time to show the houses. So that was my job. So I got a pager, and when the pager would ring, I'd say, okay, I've got to go show a house now. I'll be back within an hour. And that's how it went for years and years. Yeah.
Bloody clever.
So,
Yeah, that was.
yeah.
It really is.
Yeah.
Everyone-
It worked for me. I really thought that I wasn't ashamed of it. I didn't ever feel bad about it.
But you were able at that point to pay the bills, provide a stable shelter for you and your family, put groceries on the table,
Right.
put them through school.
yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, schools, public school.
Public school, it doesn't
Yeah.
matter. I mean, they were educated.
Oh, yeah, sure. Oh, yeah. They went to school and
17
know.
years. So how old were you when you sort of at that 17th year, that last year? How old were you?
Well, when I quit drinking, I was 46. So I went back to school and became a medical assistant. And it's a long story.
I don't want
But-
that's what I'm saying.
No,
I
I'm
want
just
everyone
saying-
to read the book to get
Yeah,
the
you
details.
have to
We're just
get the
trying to do the
story.
treetops now.
Yeah, yeah. So it's a lot that happened that led me to quitting completely.
And that was in your early 40s then.
That was 46. No, when I quit completely, it was a little bit after that. I was about 50, something like that.
Same men for that long?
Some of them. Yeah, one
Yeah.
of the first one was the whole 17 years.
Holy moly.
Yeah, a lot. They're regulars.
about that?
They're regulars, mostly married men
Yeah.
that would see, and it was daytime stuff. They see you on their lunch break, and it was.
Real quick, did you
it
go to
worked.
AA or anything?
No, I didn't. When I
Wow.
quit drinking, I came up with my own method of how I would. I tried to quit drinking so many times. Throughout the book, you'll read about each failed time. But there was one time that I made it happen. I don't know if I should tell that now or let them read the book, because
Just
that's a
read it.
really
Read
good
the book.
story.
Read the book.
Yeah, it's a really good story behind that. And so that did it for me. I never had a drink. I don't want to drink. I became then addicted to sugar, because there's a lot of sugar in alcohol.
There is.
And so when you stop the alcohol, you're still addicted to the sugar.
Correct.
At least I was. I'll speak for me. So I was cakes and pies and candy, and I couldn't get enough.
Did you gain weight?
Oh my gosh. Gained weight a lot. I went to Overeaters Anonymous for years and did the roller coaster of all of that.
So pretty much you substituted one addiction for another.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's what addicts do,
Yeah.
isn't that right?
Yeah, yeah.
Thank God you
Yeah.
didn't get diabetes.
Yeah, I mean, I still have slips. I've had, I had the last slip maybe a couple of months ago, and I will have 2 quarts of ice cream on my lap on my work, 8 o'clock in the morning, eating my ice cream. It's like alcoholism in that in a very short period of time, you go back to where you left off. If I had worked up to the place where I was just eating that much ice cream, I would get there maybe in 2 days or
Right.
whatever. And so, yeah, I gained weight really fast, and it takes months to take it off.
I've seen you high on sugar. It's
Oh,
very,
yeah.
very funny.
Yeah, I get high,
Yeah, she gets really crazy
Very
high.
high.
like I'm drunk.
So
Yeah,
my
it's
question, so
crazy.
then
I've watched
after,
the cravings.
Crazy.
so after you quit drinking and after you quit, you said you were going to school. You went to school
Yeah, went back to school to be a medical assistant.
and you finished.
And I love that. Yeah, got a job right away. Worked in a dermatology office and back office. And in between that, I met a man who was 20 years older than me. Here's Daddy, right? Now Daddy. Who had this... really wanted a boyfriend that didn't know what I did for a living. Because as you read the book, you'll see that my relationships, I wanted to be my secret. Turned out that I went to this place to get a boyfriend, and I pretended like I was meeting a girlfriend and that she hadn't shown up, but I was really scoping the place, right? So there's this man sitting at the bar, his daughter next to him, and a friend next to her. I didn't know who they were. And they saw me looking around, looking at my watch, looking at the clock, And they said, "Would you like to come sit with us?" And I said, "Oh no, I'm waiting for a girlfriend." They kept it up, and I said, "Okay." Finally, I sat down and enjoyed some beers with them. Well, the one man, Michael, ended up that he had just bought a stretch limousine and he was showing it to everybody that night because he had been going to this place called the Northwoods Inn for 30 years.
I know where that is.
Okay.
Is it still there, by the way?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh my God,
With
can we
this-
go?
Oh, sure.
Oh,
yeah,
God, yes.
absolutely.
It's, interesting.
Yeah, good food.
Yeah.
So he was introducing everyone to his limo that night. And he said, "Patty, would you like to go take a look?" He told his friend to take me out and take a look. So, but he was so generous. He had beers waiting for me when we came back, and him and his... Anyway, so I ended up with him for 8.5 years.
Oh, wow.
And
Married or just together?
engaged.
Engaged, okay.
This is a whole nother
Engaged,
story.
yeah,
which
this is
you
to
don't even
show
want to
you-
touch on. It's
yeah,
so amazing.
I didn't want to just be his girlfriend. We had gone together for a year, and I said, and I was always hiding behind the bottle because I didn't have a voice to speak. And I said, when are we getting married? Are we getting married? Where's this going? And I said, it doesn't have to be a real diamond. That was the first thing out of my mouth because I didn't want the rejection.
Right, of
I
course.
couldn't have the rejection. So I said, it could be a cubic zirconium. That would be fine. Oh, a cubic zirconium. Okay. Is that what you want? The next morning at the breakfast table, Patty Sue, that's what he called me. Ugh. I should have never told him my middle name. Patty Sue is what he called me. Come sit down. And he opened the ring box and he engaged me
Oh. Cubic
with
zirconia?
a big rock. Cubic, of course. He said, "Shh, it'll be our secret." I told my best girlfriend. I told Stevie about it. She was the only one I was going to tell, and she said, "The bastard, he could afford a real diamond." She goes, "You know what fake is." So,
Oh, we're on to your sex life now. Talking of fake.
yeah. I mean, faking orgasm all my whole life. I didn't have any feeling. I didn't feel anything. So for me, sex wasn't really anything.
Right.
It was just I faked it. I faked pleasure.
Well, you were desensitized.
I was desensitized, but I mean, I was that way from my first boyfriend all the way
Yeah.
through. Yeah, all my marriage and everything. And the reason I found out later, is because you can't think about two things at the same time. You can't be wondering in your mind, "Oh, am I doing this perfect? What do I do here? Oh my gosh," and all those thoughts. You can't feel any pleasure that way. So it took a while. I finally ended up going to Tantra and learning how to have pleasure,
How to unwire that.
how to unwire that, and change things. So.
Now, a couple of questions. First question. I mean, anyone else have questions? I mean, I feel like I'm bogarting.
I do.
So
I would like to ask Patty, did you ever feel your life was in danger, when you were...
No, and I think it's because I had so much danger through my life at home that the chaos and all that was very normal. I didn't know. The people that I saw, I thought were very normal. They were just people, businessmen, sort of like, that were on a lunch break. And I lucked out, and I know I did because...
And you were never on the streets. That wasn't that. You weren't that kind of whore. You were.
Right.
You were a family girl.
Well, I always thought I was the girl next door type because, earning a little extra money.
Next door. You sound like the girl next door.
Well, but I was a prostitute, and as you read the book, you will find out that things did change, and I wanted this great house for the kids. That was my thing, to give them what they had when this whole thing started, and that was a beautiful home with a pool. So that you have to pay for, so I had to make more money. So I got business cards, and they said, "For a good time, for a good time, call Patty."
really,
So that book is
the title
like
of the business card.
like my business card. So it's
Wow. So I mean, it's okay. So you did the whole medical thing.
Mhm.
Okay, you worked
Loved
there.
it.
Met Michael.
yeah.
8 years. I'm sure you kicked him to the curb.
No,
He did.
No, he died. I knew.
shit.
I knew.
He kicked the curb.
Peace.
He kicked the curb. Yeah.
No,
Did
I,
he
the
ever
bucket.
see your car or your card? Did Michael see the card? He had no idea what you were up to.
Michael. Okay, let's hope I'm
You're
not
giving
No,
away
you're
giving
too
too much of
You
the
are.
book.
Then don't.
They
Okay.
have to read this part
You know,
it's
honestly,
a
because-
very good story about
Yeah,
Michael.
I'm getting on Amazon like now.
Okay, so he passed away
Later.
later.
Yeah.
I mean, after you guys were together, and then you guys separated, and then he passed, or he passed, and that's why you separated.
Well, I did leave him for
Okay.
a little bit, and then came back as his caregiver. But like I said, this whole story is really
Now, the whole caregiver thing, because
uh-huh.
when I first met you,
mm-hmm.
you were a caregiver to Joy.
Yeah.
That's when I first met you. This is like many years later.
Yeah.
That's what you were doing. You were Joy's. No,
Personal
actually,
assistant is.
Wait,
how
hold
she-
on. It's not true. Hold on. No. I mean, Joy had. No. I mean, I met you right after. The first Goddess Camp was right after Joy passed.
Well, that was my first goddess camp because I took Joy's place.
Yep. So.
Yeah.
So you.
Yeah.
So that was the first. Yep. So that's when I first met you, and you had just. I mean, Joy had passed, and because I know you opened up a caregiver business.
Yeah.
So, like between Joy passing, how much time
Oh.
in between before you became why did you think, I think I want to be a caregiver now and open up a business?
Oh, okay. When I was working as a medical assistant, Michael asked me to quit my job and travel with him because he was getting sicker and sicker from alcoholism. And so I did. I quit my job and to travel and to be by his side. So that's the reason I quit. And what was the second part?
Okay, let's go. The next level is how and when did you meet Joy to take on the position as her assistant?
I met Joy. Okay, so funny. I met Joy through a psychic friend of mine named Keisha, who I told I said to her one day, and I got the feeling, I said, I'm never going to have sex again if there's no pleasure in it for me. I'm just not going to do it anymore. And so she said, Patty, I'm inviting you to go someplace with me. And she always took me to spiritual events, and it was always great fun. She said, but I'm not going to tell you what this one is. So we went. It was in the valley. We went, and it was a tantra group, and Joy was there, Joy and Jerry.
Okay.
And so that's how I met them. And Joy ended up tapping me on the shoulder that night, and we hugged, and we were besties after that, for a long time. And it was.
Now,
was
you were her.
wonderful.
I mean, was she when she started to get sicker, and you were her personal assistant? So, what did you do as her personal assistant?
I would check her emails and send people back emails and take her to the.
Well, explain what Joy did, because
Joy was
it's
an
it's
amazing
well, who the
woman.
heck was she
Yeah,
that you have to
Joy.
answer emails and everything?
Joy was losing her vision. She had macular degenerative eye failure. And so she had to give up her car and couldn't drive and needed someone to check her emails and drive her around. So I drove her to the store, and she could see she could see peripheral. If you put two hands in front of your eyes and you look around, if you go like this, what do you see?
Right.
Wow.
But she was
She could see
amazing.
what-
She looked
oh my
right
God, is
at
that
you.
right?
Yeah, she'd look right at you, but she couldn't see your face, and it blew everybody away. Joy was the light of my life. She was just like, wow, this woman is. She was a minister. She was a teacher. She had her own TV show. She was an astrologer. She had written books on astrology. She was who I dreamed I could be. I mean, I saw we were mirrors for each other, but she was further along the road, and she liked me, and I was blown away at how much she liked me. It really made me feel good. She wanted to be around me, and I never had that from an adult that I would respect like Joy. And so,
And it was through this community, like
Yeah.
Joy
Yeah.
introducing you, that you met John.
yeah, Joy introduced us. We double dated. I went on a double date with Joy and Jerry one night to the Hustler store in Hollywood, and John was doing a Tantra event there, and she brought him over to the table and introduced us.
Can I ask you
Yeah.
something really personal? And
Sure.
obviously, you don't have to answer.
Oh,
When was your first orgasm?
Ooh.
okay. Well, that's in the book.
Can you
Okay.
describe
No,
it?
you can actually you could say it. I mean,
Well, I don't know when
No,
it was.
not if you don't have to. But
No, well, I
was it by yourself or
went
with
to
a man?
It was by myself,
Mhm.
and it was I went to a therapist who showed me movies of men having sex with women. They weren't actors, and they were really into it, and they were looking at them, and there was pleasure, and I could tell that the women weren't faking this because I know I'm the queen of faking, right? So I was just blown away. I said, wow, these men really are they love that the women are having pleasure. That turned everything around for me. I knew what was possible after I saw those films.
Yay.
So yeah, so he told me about a book to read by Lonnie Barbeck, and it was about how to bring yourself to orgasm. And it was a 6-week thing, and but I practiced and practiced because I was committed. I meant I'm not going
6 weeks? I can do it in 6 minutes.
That's good. Well, that's good.
The second question: did you ever have the sex talk with your kids and about orgasms?
No, no, I haven't. My mother never talked about it, and I never talked about it either. Maybe to my daughter a little bit, but not to the boys.
So when did you sort of come clean with your children about your past life?
That was about 10 years ago or so, and I knew that I just wanted to live in my truth. I was gaining power and taking it back here and there, and I knew I was writing this book that was going to be published one day, and I wanted to tell my kids the truth. So I asked Joy. Joy had already passed away, and I said in a prayer to Joy, I said, Joy, I need your help. I said, I need to tell my kids today. Because Papa's my oldest, and he's coming over, but I haven't got that words down right. Can you help me? So I sat down at the typewriter at the computer, and I inhaled three breaths, and in came this bouquet, this delicious bouquet of gardenias. And Joy had told us, when I die, you'll know it's me if you smell the gardenias. I'm with you. And so in that moment, I knew we're connected, and out came the perfect words, and I pushed print on the printer, and I read what I typed to my kids, and I told them all. This 1 week, I told all 3 of them in a row, and it was Mother's Day on Sunday.
And how
So-
obviously they were shocked because why would they?
They were
think-
shocked, sure.
Initially, were they understanding and supportive?
They were all different reactions, everyone. So again, da da da.
But do
I don't think
you-
I should give.
But
all
the
of-
thing is, do you have a relationship with them now?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
so it's
definitely.
not like. So yes, I mean obviously it's
Oh,
a
I
shock.
have-
It's shock value.
It's shocking, but okay, each one is different. And the one that was the hardest was my daughter.
Yeah, I would think.
And
The youngest?
That took a while. But we got to the most magnificent place later. So it's amazing what you have to go through to get to a place of real.
But when they're older, well, as they're growing, can you imagine how much more vulnerable and open they will be? You
Yes.
know, what a learning experience
Yes.
it is for them. Like,
Yeah.
Mom was honest,
Yeah. Yeah.
rather than learning it after you're gone. Like, what?
Yeah. I didn't want anybody else to tell them.
Yeah, exactly. It's your story to tell.
My story to tell.
Everyone, you're listening to Between the Sheets here in the United Broadcasting Network. We have a wonderful guest author, Patty Tierney, for a good time. Go on Amazon. She's not leaving yet. If you want to call in, 323-524-2599. Sheena, you're awfully quiet, and Marguerite, you too. So come on.
I have a question for you, Patty. So when you drink, right, you basically blanket your emotions and you blanket anything that comes through the spiritual channel, right?
Yeah.
So when you were drinking and working as an escort, obviously a lot of it was blocked out, right? You weren't feeling a lot of it because you were in a place of numb. So when you got sober and then you went and looked back over that time, did you realize, like, could you think about and feel a lot of the, emotional distress and pain and stuff that your clients had that you weren't feeling when you were drinking? Because obviously there's something about someone who is married yet goes to see a sex worker in the same way that there's somebody who sits in a bar all night long, right? I mean, it's a kind of addiction and there's an unhappiness there. Now looking back at that, are you aware of that unhappiness that you were dealing with in a lot of these guys?
Hello? Is this on?
Yep, we can hear you.
When I got sober, I still worked as a prostitute. I was still going through the motions, okay? So as far as did I feel more, I think I had more awareness, and I talked to them. That was what I liked to do, about their problems, and we would sit and talk. That's what was gratifying to me, that I could be of some help in that way. So as far as feeling pleasure of any kind sexually, no. Is that what you meant?
No, I meant were you feeling the emotions coming off of them?
No, I didn't feel emotions for a long, long time. My husband and I, several years ago, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago, started a group called Transform with the Tierneys. And we had Margie's wearing the T-shirt. She was one of the facilitators. So it was a group of, I would say, mostly Hollywood, young 20s to, we have people from 20 to 60. And they would come to our home and we would share our stories. And I wanted to help them to heal by sharing their stories and releasing any shame or negativity that they had. Well, it turns out that as I was trying to help these people, I was having a healing. So that's when I started to feel my feelings and have some tears, because I didn't cry my whole life pretty much.
But the thing I think where Sheena's also asking is these gentlemen who were broken. They're broken. Everybody was broken. You don't do. They're broken. So you have these broken people to some degree, finding some sort of solace in you. Were you able, because you were, I mean, we're all empathic. Were you able to feel their pain? Yeah. I mean, you were a facilitator in listening, but did you ever get your emotion involved with them?
No. I could feel bad for them, but I didn't feel their pain. I wasn't an empath in that kind of way. I cared about them very much.
That's what I wanted to
I
ask.
thought that they were friends.
Okay, Margie.
Over the years.
Well, there's a perfect time. I'm so glad Sheena asked that question first. Is I got to witness your evolution of talking about feelings, because I was part of that group for a few years, and I remember at first your story was very matter of fact. In fact, a lot of us details, and then it was like a routine, and then you got the feelings. Yeah. And each time you shared that story, and that's really what I found is the story came out finally when you had the feelings to go with it. And so I'm so grateful to have witnessed parts of your evolution of expressing your story with feelings. But I'd like you to talk more about that, because I'm glad Sheena asked about your numb period. Yeah.
Thanks, Margie.
Like
that was
denumbing.
Perfect.
It was so potent for me in your life. That's why I wanted to be on the show, and it occurred to me that was the question I wanted to ask you, because that was so important for me.
Mm-hmm. So not only did I not have physical feeling, I didn't have emotions. I didn't have emotional feelings. I didn't cry. So what I would do is I practiced to learn how to feel my feelings. Because I got so used to stuffing it, so used to pushing any feeling that would come up, and this is from childhood. I didn't want to feel the fear of the beer bottle cracked over the head or any of the horrible things. So my habit was to push it down. So consciously, when I saw that I was going to push this feeling down, I said, no, I'm going to sit with whatever feeling I do have and just sit with it and be with it and not try to cry and not try to make anything happen. But I would sit with it, and by itself, Sometimes it would take a few minutes. Sometimes it would take 10 or 15 minutes. And up came this well of deep cry. And it was such a release. I loved it. I thought, wow, this crying stuff is for me. You know, I never had that feeling before of a real deep cry. And so that led to more and more of the healing, and it was amazing, just amazing.
Marguerite, what led you to this group? I mean, how did people find you? People like you, if you don't mind me asking. What were they looking for? What were you looking for? I mean, you hear transformation, but what was it about?
Well, it was I think it's about people who have situations happening in early childhood or throughout their lives, abuse and neglect usually, that causes feelings of no self-worth and causes us to have behaviors, it doesn't matter what they're like, that don't benefit us, right? And it was related to different kinds of addictions, but not necessarily drug addictions, although they're often interrelated. So that's what led me to this group.
But I think you're asking, how did I meet Margie
how did
to get
people
her?
find you when you
she
hear
was in goddess
transformation?
camp.
She was part of a goddess
camp.
Oh.
And
I'm in
so
the
I
goddess
knew her
group,
from that. The whole community, we had a lot of friends. They weren't all goddesses, but Margie was.
But the
somebody
question,
that
I have a question. So you had said earlier that, or you or Margie or someone, that they were younger people.
Yeah.
There were people from 18 to 20 and up to 65. I don't know, older, younger.
So
we had the younger and older together for a reason.
Yes, and I could understand the older because there's years of trauma and unlearning.
Yeah.
But did you find? I mean, I find it fascinating that you said that some of the clientele were in their 20s because
No. I was talking clientele.
You mean at
your
Transform?
Transform.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Your
Transform.
group. Okay.
That they were young, you know what I mean? And so, most of us, when we were in our 20s, I mean, we're self-aware now. But in our 20s, I think we all did the hiding, pushing, shoving under the carpet, facade. So why do you think, I mean,
I'll tell you
speaking
how
to the
that
kids,
happens.
because I call them kids, like, is there an awareness now with this generation? I mean, what did you find that they're drawn to that?
They're amazing.
Much
This new
ahead of us.
generation is so advanced. And
Way
the way
ahead
we got the younger kids is I met this woman who's a woman now. She was 29 when I met her. And she had told her story. And so she was the first one that was in Transform. And she invited her friends, and so she had a lot of friends.
The word.
It was the word of mouth, yeah.
Because
So-
that's what
and
I
she
was asking. It's like,
amazing.
how did people gravitate to you, find you, discover you, know about this group?
Word of mouth.
Yeah.
No
Wow.
advertising. It was word of mouth. It was no charge. It was free.
And I
So
bet
it
you
was-
you found, and I could be off base, I bet that the people who were older learned from the young
Absolutely
more than the young learning from the old.
I don't know to answer that, but I know that there was learning from going on left and right, and it
And do
was
you still
just
have this group
from
going?
Yes, yeah, we do. And I'll tell at the end of the show where they can get in touch with. It's transformwiththetierneys.com, and I'll say it again at the end.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Everyone, again, Patty Tierney, wonderful author, wonderful book, heart-wrenching, really hard-hitting. Carry your tissues, bring your tissues, buy it on Amazon. We're not done yet. It's not over yet, but I just always like to give it a plug. I mean, purposely, I am not. I don't want her to tell the details because it's, you have to read the book, and this is not a ploy to buy it, but, again.
Don't want to be a spoiler for those.
Don't
who
want to be
are
a
still
spoiler,
reading it.
but,
Yeah.
Can I just add that it's coming out as an audiobook very shortly.
Right, in about a week.
Yeah, so
it's-
it's not just the written book, which is interesting because you brought up emotions, and I remember you telling me, because I know you when I first met you, you already started your book, and I've known you 10 years maybe.
Yeah, at least.
But you told me that once you'd gone through the first draft or however many drafts, you then went back in and you put in some emotion. Do you remember that?
Yes, and thank God for Transform, because that's where I learned to feel my feelings, and I went back. I had a sex therapist go through all of these situations with me, and I was able to heal one after another and feel it.
And describe it
because
with emotion.
Feel, deal, heal. So you have to feel
you
it
make
so
that
that
up?
you can deal with it. No, this is Iana Van Zandt.
Okay.
Taught me feel, deal, heal. And that was what I was doing, being able to
Did you work
take it like
directly
that.
with her? Or
No, her
this is
books.
from her books. And,
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, so
I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool.
And Cara was the director. She was my director because I'm no actress, and so I recorded this book in her home studio, and she directed me to speak like an actress, to have a little bit of what is it?
I'd say, hey, stop. Excuse me. Hello. Just a moment.
Yeah.
Were you happy? Well, tell your face.
Yeah. So we had a lot of fun. Yeah. It was
So
really
it's
We had a
Thank-
lot of fun
Thank
recording.
you, Cara. That was wonderful.
So-
I know. We just finished yesterday.
So is it
Yeah.
like it's an audio and video or just audio?
Just audio.
And is it going to be like on Audible and
It's going to be on Audible, on Spotify, where you can actually listen to 5 minutes for free, and you can see if you like it. So that you can. It's going to be on Amazon, a lot of places.
So
everywhere.
14 places.
everywhere.
Yeah.
So it's as we talked about, you've sort of come full circle.
Yeah.
To some degree, there is closure with the book. Where do you see yourself going from here?
Well, I have another book that is being written as we speak. I mean, I stopped for all of this part of it, but I had started it about 6 months ago, and it's what I'm living. So, as this one is, it's another autobiography later on, but it's a good story.
But this
as
book
well.
takes us up to what part of your life? Current or
Yes, to current.
To current.
Mhm. Yeah.
And not just being interested in it. And I'm going to be a little bit of a devil's advocate and sound a little harsh, but let's say people who haven't gone through a lot of trauma. Everyone has some kind of trauma, and we all go through
gosh,
puberty and
yeah.
problems. And so, how do you think this book will impact people who haven't had I don't want to say deep or hard, but as
I mean, I think-
extreme experiences like
Right.
this?
Well, can I just add something?
Yeah.
I mean, I hear what you're saying, but I'm also in the place where trauma is subjective.
Exactly.
And, yes, what Patty went through is horrific, but if someone went through something less, it doesn't mean it's not as
Right.
as
exactly.
as harsh. So I think,
Pain
not
is
I don't want to
pain.
put any labels on, Patty's
Right.
is worse than mine. I
Right.
think it's subjective, and trauma is trauma.
Yes, that's so true. It's my hope that people that are dealing with whatever it is they're dealing, that pain is pain,
Yeah.
and that they can be triggered by my book through their own story, and it's that triggering that will lead to the healing, because they have to be jolted. in
Also, some people
way.
don't even realize they're in trauma because you don't know how damaged you are. We're all damaged. Every one of us is damaged, right? But we just don't often know how and where. And maybe this book is going to prod some people into looking actually
Yes.
at themselves.
It's a mirror. Yes, absolutely.
It reminds me of, and this is a little bit vulnerable, but it reminds me of when the Me Too thing started. You don't know how many of my girlfriends were like, fucking date rape.
We were all Me Too.
We were all in
Hello?
college, yeah, and so it started bringing that up, and we're not victims. We are not victims, but we started
Survivors.
admitting we never voiced it.
Well,
know?
yeah, that's why I was saying we're so much alike. We really are. I realized through Goddess Camp that all these women that I held at such a high place, I thought we're all perfect. No, I mean, we're all dealing with this.
I
same
remember
stuff.
Goddess Camp. I mean, because you were very, quiet, and
At the beginning.
At the beginning, and then, but then even as Margie said, even when you started opening up to us, it was more factual. It was like a floodgate just to get out your story. And the work hadn't even begun till later in
Right,
Goddess Camp.
right.
But it was just you at that point. The biggest work was you finding a voice.
Absolutely.
And
that was so hard.
and that was like to see that blossom.
Yeah. The thing I want to say about that for women is that if you don't have your voice, just don't give up, because it's there. You know, if you try and you can't get it this day, get the courage, because it's scary. It's scary for all of us, but just push through it. And if you're an alcoholic and you want to quit drinking and you try and you just can't, don't give up. Reach down, because your strength is there. You have it. I promise you have it. And when you find it, you'll get there. Just don't give up.
That's my Patty.
Yeah.
I mean, this woman at Goddess Camp, and I joined later, obviously, than you've known each other much longer. And Marguerite joined later too. But my goodness me, did it change my life. And the person who really made my head spin was you. Because you said to me, so why are you sort of traumatized? And I explained that I lost my job in England. It was very traumatic and public, and I fled. And I can't speak now. I was on the radio, but I can't speak now.
Right.
There's a difference.
Yeah.
And she said, is that all it is? And then she said, it's not our business what other people think.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my God. She's right. But I couldn't, still took me a long time to put it all together.
Sure. That again. All these things are a process. It takes a lifetime to get to a lot of these places.
But you have to have
I
the courage.
used to care so much about what everybody thought that it was crazy. But over a period of time, I let go of this, and now I honestly own the fact that I don't care. I care what people think. There's two ways to look at this, but it doesn't affect me. Those are their thoughts, thinking what happened in their life, their own values, their morals, their judgments. They're not mine. And once I really got that, I was free.
Right.
And that to me is the biggest freedom you can have. Is just
Because you know what you think.
Yeah. I know what I think.
That's it.
We
And
don't
talk
need
about being able
validation.
to speak. You can really speak when you don't care.
Yeah.
Hey,
Exactly.
hey, what did I
Yeah.
teach you?
Well, a lot of things like what?
How to swear.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
and that's very interesting, because swearing is a big part of power. And I didn't know it at the time, because if we said darn it or damn it when I was little, my mom would put a bar of soap. That was what they did, I guess, and wash your mouth out. So I didn't swear. And I didn't swear for a long, long time until you came along and taught me. And I would
Well,
say
I'm English, so I can say cunt as often as I want.
Well, you know what? We're a bunch of fucking powerful people.
yeah. So, but I couldn't say that.
She couldn't.
No, I know.
Yeah, you
I
remember
mean,
that?
you were very shy.
Yeah, I still
Sweet. You were sweet and loving, and anybody that needed a hug, whether you felt it or not, whether that you in the beginning, whether you genuinely wanted to give a hug.
Oh, I did. For
You
sure. That
did.
was- of course.
You did. And so, it's about what you were saying, for me, it's about, having, as you said, courage to make
Yeah.
that first step.
Yeah.
Because once you, seriously, but when you make the first step, I said this to a few people, if there are setbacks, it doesn't mean that it's over.
Absolutely
You
not.
brush you fall,
Yeah.
you brush the dirt off, and you start
Yeah.
again.
Yeah, you push through it. You push through that wall that is so, it feels like you can't, but then you can. You just can.
I feel the older I get, the more I mess up, the more it's not a mess up. It's like, yep.
Right.
I feel like I'm going forward now, progressing. It's like,
Yes,
because I know I've fallen
yes.
a million times,
Yeah.
We're
We're just being redirected. It's not failure. It's just redirecting us to
Correct.
what we want to be.
Correct.
Life can be so easy if we get to a place where we don't care about what people think. It's a game changer for sure.
It really is.
Yeah.
An absolute game changer.
Yeah.
But we all deal with it. I mean, we do. We still deal with it. It's sort of like,
Yeah.
because, I don't know, people pleaser, maybe. But, you want to please people.
Oh my God, my whole life I
Yep,
was a
you want a
people
people
pleaser.
pleaser.
Oh.
It's acts of service to
Yeah.
others give you value. Making other people's lives happy with not really taking care of yourself.
Exactly. Exactly, and there gets to be a point where you just can't anymore. You just can't fake it. You just like, I'm done.
How did you,
know?
being so closed off, though, from what I understand, not showing the emotions, how did that affect your kids and their emotions and their showing off their emotions and sharing and crying and being vulnerable?
Well, I don't think I was closed off. You wouldn't know. You wouldn't. I look the same as I do now. I act the same as I did now. The only difference is inside. You know, inside I wasn't feeling the pain that a lot of people would be feeling over, let's say, a breakup or something.
But your kids saw that, so how did that affect how they are?
I don't know that my kids saw that. I don't. I'm not. I'm not sure that they saw that. They saw a loving mother that was just like my mom. When she was drunk, she was unavailable and abuse. It was child abuse, really, the way I was with them. But when I was sober, I was completely different, like my mom was. Very loving, attentive, caring, present. So I was a real good mom, but then I was a horrible mother.
Right. And I think every parent goes through, in different degrees, having that, like in their own head, am I a good parent? Am I not a good parent?
Yeah.
But we have a caller, so let's take the caller.
Okay.
Hello. Welcome to Between the Sheets. What's your name? And let us know what your question is. Thank you.
Hey, this is Barb. I have a question for Patty. I wanted to ask her, was there like a pivotal moment that made you realize that you wanted to change your life, and did it like happen slowly, or did you just have an epiphany and you said, thought I wanted to change my life? And I don't know if that's something that you can reveal from the book.
Yeah, thank you. That's a good question. I can reveal that. I got sick and tired of being sick and tired of my cycle of drunk and hungover and wanting to be a sober person. So just that was it. I just couldn't do it anymore. So in the book, like, I won't reveal that either, but it talks about how I finally can do that, and that consciousness and awareness that I was finally having in my life, I changed. I mean, I just changed. I became a different person. Although I'm the same but different. The essence of me is always the same, but I have different insides I can feel so that I can deal and heal, because the whole thing is the growth. We want to grow. And if we can have the courage to take a look at ourselves, it's hard, but it's such a payoff,
Any follow-up questions,
Definitely.
Barb?
All right, that was my question. Thank you.
Thanks, Barb.
Thank you for
Appreciate
that.
you watching.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Any
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, honey.
Bye.
Do we have any questions or anything, insights from Marguerite or Cheryl or Sheena?
I do. Patty, how is your relationship with your mother now? So
My mother's passed, and she died from alcoholism. She died when my kids were like little babies, little tiny babies in an infancy still. But my relationship with my mother is wonderful. I talk to my mother all the time. My mother comes to visit, and she comes in a scent like Joy did with the gardenias. My mother comes in the scent of Lifesavers. She used to buy me Lifesaver candy when I was a little girl. And the channeled message was in the fragrance that I smelled. And that's a whole story in there, too, that's wonderful. I never referred to my mother or my brothers or any of that as my family ever before. I never used the word family because it was gunk to me. And so I do now. And I'm so happy and proud of my family now that I know who they are without the stuff.
Were you ever angry at her?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I tried to escape from her for years because I didn't want to be around it. So I'd stay at my girlfriend's or something. So many embarrassing moments, that are in the book. My mom, just tell you one, she would go to she got arrested a lot, and she was arrested I think 6 times, and I was trying to find out why she was arrested. Anyway, my girlfriend that I met at the beach one day ended up being my best girlfriend, because when she saw my mom changing her clothes, we had told her, oh, my mom's not home because she's at our aunt's house. And my mom went along with the story right away, and we said, how is Aunt? So she goes, oh, she's fine. So she peeled off her clothes, and Stevie, my girlfriend, Stephanie in the book, she said, we both looked at my mom's underwear, and it said Orange County Jail printed in big bold print right on the underwear. And so Stevie looked at me, I looked at Stevie, and she burst out laughing. So I knew she was my friend for life, because I was always embarrassed until her. So, I love my mother. We're the same.
Oh, wow.
As much as I didn't want to be like my mother, I am just like my mother.
And aren't we all?
And I'm so happy about that I am. The only difference is my mom didn't get sober.
Yeah.
It's the only difference. So.
Now, your biological father.
I didn't know him.
You did not know
I
him.
saw him once.
One time.
Uh-huh.
And then the crazy person that she was with, he was abusive, correct? Verbally.
The boyfriend.
The boyfriend?
Yeah, he was. They would fight.
And they were together were they together?
8 years.
Okay.
They would fight.
But were there others along the way, or that was like
she would bring guys home, and she would go to the bars, and it was that kind of stuff. Yeah. And I get her so much now. I really get her. She was alone. She was in pain. She was drinking.
And what was her child look like? Did her childhood affect her? Did she have some trauma that sort of put her on this path in life?
It was the death of her daughter that put her on that path.
But she was sort of like okay before.
Oh yeah. In fact, my mom didn't even drink. She was a Mormon, and she didn't want to drink, and she used to try to tell people it's not good for you, don't drink, and so it turned her upside down.
Oh,
yeah, poor
sad.
lady. Yeah.
Very sad.
Yeah, and she was alone.
Broken. She was broken.
Yeah, yeah.
Marguerite, you're never one to be so quiet.
I've heard Patty's story so many times, and the emotions was really my biggest thing about it. But what I wanted to go back is, somebody asked the question is, what did we get participating as the older people in the group? And I want to go back and just say that I got as much out of the group as I hope that I contributed. Age doesn't seem to make a difference in one's ability to understand the work it takes to work through our stuff. So I healed through the whole program, pretty dramatically as well. And, I'd love to just promote that. Patty and her husband do an amazing job supporting people. So I'd love Patty to talk more about Transform as we're getting closer towards the end of the show, because it's an amazing opportunity for people to really get to the core of the things that make us do the things we've done. I was a people pleaser for most of my life, because that's how most girls are raised.
Right.
At least in our generation. It's not so true anymore.
Yeah.
No.
Thanks, Margie. And I want to say, too, that Margie, you were just an amazing facilitator. Margie has a well of knowledge and wisdom that's just always blows me away, and it will forever, because that's who you are. So, yeah.
I love our Mutual Admiration Society.
Yeah. So, triggers are good for us. This is what I've learned at Transform. People are, oh, don't trigger me. Don't get triggered. Well, yes, let's get triggered. Yeah. Let's talk about things that trigger us so that we can see it, and we can talk about it, and we can deal with it to heal it. And in Transform, we had processes that we would do, and we had just a number of different exercises, from looking in a mirror and just saying, I love you, to your own self, which was very hard for a lot of people at the beginning. They had a tough time, and so did I when I was first doing this, because that's the last thing we would think about, right, is love for ourselves. I mean, it's everybody else first. And so once I think that's a big hurdle, was for a lot of us, and it doesn't mean that if you say I love you that's self-love. It's a beginning.
Yep.
It's a beginning. And then there's a wonderful book, Self-Love, that Cara has narrated. That's a beautiful book. A friend of ours, Jonathan, has.
He was on the show.
Yes.
Oh,
A couple of years ago, I guess.
Oh, with that book?
With that book,
okay,
yeah.
yeah. So anyway, for people that need to kind of get it, what we mean by self-love, it's all in there.
Yeah, it's a nice little book. It's
Yeah, it
simple
really
and
is.
and an easy read.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It's an easy read. So at Transform, it was so good to hear the stories. So many tears were shed that people were holding in over a lifetime. John and I at one point became the parents. Remember that, Margie? We were the parents, and let's say the younger one couldn't talk to their parents about whatever.
So like
it
role
was.
playing, kind of?
Yeah, it was role playing. And they got to tell us things that they wanted so much to tell their parents. And oh my gosh, beautiful healing. They just got to release it, and that's just an example of
What the
young
program is.
Yeah.
So
and it's we bring you food and meals together, and there's
there we
fun
go.
too,
You come with
know.
food and meals and triggers. That's
And
it. Food,
good
meals, and
trigger.
triggers.
Good
Trigger. Let's go
hot
trigger ourselves. So everyone, I just wanted to say thank you, Patty Tierney, for joining us.
Thank
It's
you,
an hour and a
Margie.
half, and it's we can go on and talk really truly. You know me, I can go on and on and on and on. But I just want to
Gaye
say thank you so much. The book For a Good Time, available on Amazon Audio, portion dropping. When is the audio portion going to be available?
In about
few
a week.
days, I think.
In a few days to a week. And
In a few days. And where can
I
people
just-
find you?
Yeah. Patty Tierney author at gmail.com is where you can contact me. And to hear more about Transform with the Tierneys, you can go to transformwiththetierneys.com. And For a Good Time, the audiobook is available on Audible, Spotify, Amazon, and more in the next week or so. And the book For a Good Time is at Amazon right now.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
This is fun.
Thank you.
This is fun. Just
I
keep-
loved it.
Have the goddesses just keep coming in. I want to say thank you, Sheena Metal. She is sitting at home today doing it, but hopefully she'll be back next week. We have a wonderful show next week. Is it next week? No, it's not next week. When the hell is it? It's October 28th. October
there.
28th. It's with
Not next week.
Not next week. Eric North, because of course I'm going to Dominican Republic in between. So Between the Sheets, Eric North and Dr. Linda Salvin. And that should be a really good show. And I've pretty much have guests booked up. I don't know why I did this so far in advance, but I feel like relieved up through January. And I don't know if I posted it to everyone. I think I did. But we are just plugging here away. And Sheena, where can people find you?
SheenaMetalSpiritual.com. Please find me. I'd love that. Thank you,
Nice.
Patty, for sharing your story.
Oh, thank you.
And Margie Duran.
Yeah, well, you can find me as Margie Duran on Facebook.
And Cheryl Murphy.
My website is mediumcheryl.com.
And any upcoming projects in the immediate future?
I have a wonderful fundraiser coming up later this month. And then I also have another Thomas John event coming up December 1st.
Yay.
Yay, love him. He also was a guest on Between the Sheets. Thank you, Cheryl. And then we have Ronnie Loaiza.
Hi, I'm Ronnie Lowe, life coach. I'm looking at these beautiful ladies. I'm like, oh yeah, me. Ronnie Lowe, life coach on LinkedIn and on Instagram. And just follow me, DM me, just connect with me, Ronnie Lowe, life coach.
And Cara Noble.
Well, I'm on Facebook, Cara Noble. I'm on Instagram. I look at these things. I'm on Twitter. I don't really know how they work.
I don't like Twitter. I'm on Facebook. The personal page and Between the Sheets page. Follow me on Instagram. I have 2 Instagram accounts. One's QTE Brat, and one is, I think it's BW the sheets. I don't know. I go back and forth on them. And I only created the other one because that's stupid. But anyway, I have 2. Follow me there. Eventually, I'll put the shows up on YouTube. Yeah, yep. I just keep saying that every
I just want
week.
to say something to you, Gaye Ann.
Yes,
before
Patty?
you cut off. I just want to say what a wonderful thing you're doing by having this radio show.
Oh, thank you.
That how much it's putting good stuff out into the world, and I know how you do it now, and congratulations, really good, well done.
Thank you.
Well
I
done.
appreciate it.
Yeah, you're
I
good
mean,
at it.
Yeah,
you know
well
what?
done.
Well
Yeah.
done.
I was one of those people that needed a voice.
Yeah,
And
you've got one.
and
You got 2. in fact.
I've got 2. I needed a voice and never thought, that never thought I was what I had to say mattered.
I get it, but boy, it does, doesn't it?
But
Wow.
apparently, it does. I mean, Sheena has a show. Cheryl goes out. I do it. Ronnie, Akara. I mean, it's this is my medium, and I love it. Never thought I would. I was
Perfect.
never shy anyway, but I never thought it. And it's I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you
Mean
very
that.
much. And come back anytime with the next book.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'd love to.
And
Fun.
and thank you, Tony. And everyone out there, thank you again for listening and for supporting and sharing the shows and sort of being our street team. Much love there and appreciation and gratitude. We'll see you in a couple of weeks. Be safe, be well out there, and as always. Oh, I'm going to say. I know what I was going to say, but it went out of my head. That's menopause head. So, and we'll just end it with like I know. Namaste.
Namaste.
We'll just always end it with namaste. Good night, everybody. Thank you.
Namaste.
Mother's eyes, I know she's moving on. Try